I guess we might as well go into Reggie's Corner.
Reggie's Corner. We're here to talk about your good boys and girls. Reggie's Corner. We're so sorry they're dead now.
Oh, you know, Matt O'Donnell, he's so cursed.
Morosely peppy.
Morosely peppy is that song. And I've got to say, we've gotten so many. You just sent me like a bunch of emails that were dedicated to Reggie's Corner. I haven't even had time to go through yet. And of course, I'm hundreds and hundreds of emails. I've just started picking just at random, just clicking on things, see what I get, because there's no way I'm ever going to catch up with everything. But folks, some have come through. But we apologize if yours has not. It still may sometime, but we give no promises here because we're deluged. If I didn't know any better, I'd say there's some kind of plague circulating amongst our animal friends because so many, but I get with our number of listeners, this just statistically, this has to be fairly true, I guess. Anyway, Greg, don't know where he's from. I believe it's somewhere in northern Indiana, but I don't want to pigeonhole him. He didn't say here.
I don't know where he's from, but if I had to pick any place, I would say northern Indiana.
I've had correspondence and dealings with Greg. But anyway, he lost his 12-year-old schnauzer, Max. Max was diagnosed with cancer a few weeks ago, and Greg says he was the sweetest schnauzer you'd ever meet. He'd sit in my lap and watch wrestling, and at Christmas time, he was fascinated with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on TV. So, Greg, we're sorry to hear about Max. And then also we got from Phil in the City of Angels. Wanted to submit their dog Baby for Reggie's Corner. She was a Westie Poo mix and graced the earth for 13 wonderful years. And he says while she loved belly rubs, treats, and being carried like a human baby, she adored listening to Jim and Brian. Her tail would wag and her snout perk up whenever we would discuss Harley's P songs, Jim answering listener questions, and her favorite, the reviews of AEW. I guess that, dogs know. While Baby was a big fan of CM Punk and would run toward the TV when he came on, her least favorite wrestler was Jon Moxley. Anytime he would saunter to the ring, Baby would put her paw in front of her face and run away from the television. So anyway, Phil, we're sorry to hear about Baby.
I mean, it's funny, but that can't be real.
I'm telling you what it can be. If you, to this day, if you allow in my TV room, on my stereo quadraphonic speakers, the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey to be played, I don't know why anybody would play that rotten, awful fucking movie. The soundtrack of the spaceship sounds and things and the groaning and droning irritates Harley so bad she'll leave the room. So if 2001 can do it to Harley, then I would think that Moxley can do it to a wide variety of the animal kingdom. Anyway, Zion from Richmond, Virginia. We have to acknowledge now one of the smaller members of the animal kingdom. On July 23rd, one of the smallest cult members passed away, his sister's hamster, Tito. And so, Zion from Richmond, we're sorry to hear about Tito. We love all the little furry friends, small and large. Robert from Milwaukee, and this was bad. He had 2 Cocker Spaniels that he lost over the last 2 months. Bentley passed in April, and his brother Chocolate at the end of June. They were both 12 years old. And we want to recognize them. That's terrible. Brothers and family members, and at the same time. And that can happen because they get so attached to each other. When one goes, the other one just is morose after that.
That happens with senior citizens, sometimes they say.
Well, yeah, but that's people. I'm not so sympathetic about that. But the puppy.
You're not even sympathetic about old people?
Well, how old are they?
95.
Okay, all right.
90.
Okay.
85.
You're pushing it now.
I'm trying to figure out where your limit is. What is the age that's, they get past the point where you can be mad at them?
Well, it's not unusual to be loved by anyone. No, it's not unusual anymore to fucking live to be 80, 85 years old. When you get up to 90, that's still, if I saw somebody 90 years old, I would help them cross the street, whether they wanted to go or not. They'd be fucking crossing that street.
If when you become a little old man, you need an aide.
Wait a minute. What, when I become, can I be a big old man? Do I have to shrink too?
I think you're going to shrink. You have to. Especially in that Louisville era. I don't know how bad it is. But if you had an aide, do you think you'd be nice to the aide? Or do you think you'd be like just a mean old man with a cane, like hitting her?
Oh, it's a her?
Oh,
how old is she?
You want a male aide?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, I'm not saying anything against that, but around here,
I didn't know what my options were.
Feels like every aide I see is like a woman. That's why I say that.
Well, how old is she?
I don't know. How old are you?
Well, do I have to help her across the street?
No, she's there to help you.
Oh. Well, in that case, I could think of a few things she could help me with.
You see, this got really inappropriate for no good reason.
I'd probably be nice. If it was some fucking putz named Tits McGee, some guy helping me, I'd probably be a prick to him because I wouldn't want him there to begin with. I'd want to be doing all that shit.
I don't think anyone has ever thought, with your many references to Tits McGee on the show, that it could possibly be a man.
Oh, yeah, Tits McGee is a guy.
Tits McGee is a guy?
Yeah, he's Scott McGee's cousin.
Really?
Yeah.
So his real name is Tits Ports?
Well, no, for heaven's sake. Tits is just a nickname. His real name was Mamory. So Jim from West Columbia, South Carolina, was originally from New Milford, New Jersey. And for your reference, Brian, that's near Hackensack.
Okay, I know where it is.
All right. Unfortunately, he says, I'm sad to report my good boy Gus has passed away. We had him for 11 of his 15 years and saved him from being killed by a friend's neighbor back in 2012. I'd like to know what happened to that neighbor and if that outcome was happy. Anyway.
A friend's neighbor?
Yeah. Fuck this guy. But he was one of those dogs, all black and looked mean, but was the sweetest dog ever. And his buddy, our 12-year-old Jack Wawa Summer, Summer misses him terribly.
And Wawa.
Well, that's a Jack. What would that be? A Jack Russell Terrier and Chihuahua mix? A lot of these dogs are interbreeding the species. Some of these things you wouldn't think would be necessarily proper mixes.
Well, the species is that they're dogs. They're canine.
Well, the breeds is that technically if a Dalmatian has sexual congress with a Schnauzer, is that interspecies of some description? Is that against the dog code? Are they forced to do these things, or is it somehow titillating to them?
Wouldn't that actually be intra-species, not inter?
Well, I don't know. You would have to enter one of the species for it to work. But the question is this taboo for the dog? Does the Dalmatian want to have relations with the Schnauzer, or is this something that the breeders are forcing upon them? Do they feel guilty afterwards, or are they kind of into it? Are they kind of like they sit at home sometimes thinking about that?
You know, this is one of those rare conversations where you're both fucking the dog and holding its head at the same time.
Well, it's because you're giving me no help. I'm asking honest questions.
Oh, these are honest questions you're asking.
Honest questions that people wonder about.
People.
All right, Jesse wrote in, who recently lost his pet cat, Opie Van Shingles Pennypacker.
This can't be real.
Who was 20. Well, Jesse's last name is Pennypacker. So Opie's middle name was Van Shingles, and that's a common house cat middle name. He was 21, was Opie Van Shingles Pennypacker. And he goes into detail on all the things that this cat survived. He was attacked by a beaver. He once had a seizure on the carpet. And as they were about to bury Opie sprang back to life and ran away for a few days.
Okay, this can't be real. Now this is just ridiculous.
Well, no, I'm telling you, they got Opie because his dad Jesse's dad thought that he heard a mouse in the house. And so his mom got little Opie. And then it turned out not to be a mouse, but a smoke detector with a low battery. But they kept Opie in.
I don't know. I'm not trusting this story.
Well, hey, you got to trust a guy with the last name of Pennypacker. All right, and here's one more, and this is heartbreaking. This is from, Gabriel or Gabrielle, Gabriele. Now, Gabriel or Gabrielle, that it claims to be Italian, but currently living in London. Gabriel or Gabrielle the Italian from London. But now I don't know whether Gabriel or is Gabrielle, I don't know whether to say he or she, so I will refer to Gabby.
There you go.
Gabby writes, "Hello, Jim and Brian. I hope you're well. I just witnessed a tragedy that may be too heartbreaking even for Reggie's Corner. I live an unassuming life in jolly old London, England. And a few weeks ago, what are you laugh already now? You're just...
Because it's written the way it's written. I live an unassuming life in jolly old England. Let me tell you this horrible story. I live an unassuming life in jolly old England.
Well, we've talked about the fact that our friends across the pond have a way with words that surpasses the Americans. And also then you throw some Italian into the mix and bada bing, bada boom, you got something here.
That's not the kind of whatever. Keep going.
I live an unassuming life in jolly old London, England. A few weeks ago, as I was coming back home from one of my unassuming work days, I saw a tiny little black cat in the communal garden of my flat. See, they have communal gardens over there. It's where they go out in the garden and commune with each other. That's why the British are so happy.
You know, this guy's
all that communing.
This guy's pointing out that he's unassuming and everything about him is unassuming so much that maybe he should be investigated.
Well, hold on. We're getting to that.
Gilgo.
What? They caught that Dildo Beach guy, right?
They say they did. I mean, there still has to be a trial. Innocent until proven guilty and guilty and guilty.
Well,
guilty,
you just tell me. Did he do it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. He's done.
Yeah.
Anyway, a tiny little black cat in the communal garden of my flat. As soon as we made eye contact, he started meowing and rolling voluptuously on the grass as to call for a cuddle. I approached the little fellow to satisfy such request, but as soon as I was about 30 centimeters close, now how close is that, Brian?
I don't know.
30 centimeters. That sounds like a reasonably close distance.
How many centimeters equal an inch?
I don't have any idea. That centimeter shit's just made up anyway.
Well,
as soon as I was about 30 centimeters close, he ran away and then proceeded to look back at me with what I perceived as a mocking mug. How could you not love it? In the next few days, I managed to bribe my way into cuddling him, and the few seconds I saw him every evening made my day every time. I was even thinking about building a thingy for him to play with. Until this morning. I got woken up around 5 a.m. by a ruckus outside. I approached the window and saw 15 police officers with helmets, weapons, and even a ram trying to break into one of the flats in front of mine. See, flats over there are apartments, just so you know. Then all of a sudden, well, you know, everybody might not know. I didn't want to make anybody particularly feel stupid just because you got a big vocabulary. Then all of a sudden, I saw a man attempting to escape and another man being manhandled and arrested by police in what looked like a drug-related operation. So apparently the police over there, when they go to arrest people, Brian, they're on drugs. I guess it helps, you know, with risking your fucking safety to go into a criminal's den, but I would think you'd want to be fucking sober and straight to go arrest people like that.
I don't believe anything in this email so far.
But nevertheless... my unassuming morning finally had something gossipy I could entertain myself with. Unfortunately, after these events, the pace of the whole operation suddenly became more glacial than a match between Tomohiro Ishii and Chris Jericho. So I got distracted and proceeded to prepare my breakfast until, oh golly, I heard it from the kitchen. Meow, meow, meow. I rushed to the window and saw two women, probably the partner and the daughter of one of the drug dealers, being accompanied outside by a police officer who was followed by another officer with a little cage made of some soft material. From above, I could hear the meowing coming from inside the cage, and a little head bumping against its walls in a desperate attempt to escape. My little cat was being arrested. I had to stand there at the window powerless as the shiny green eyes of my new friend looked at me from inside the cage, terrified. Meow, he called. Meow. I stood there. Meow. The policeman turned the corner, and I never saw him again. Now I'm back to my usual routine with a hole in my soul. Since your podcasts are the #1 programs in every jail of the United Kingdom, I would sincerely appreciate it
What?
if you could read this story. We're #1 everywhere, so that my little friend will know that I have not forgotten about him. So if you are indeed a cat that has recently been arrested in a drug operation in London, England, and you're in a cell right now, Gabby misses you. And Gabby signs off, wishing you a very good day. Thank you. Fuck you. Meow.
Okay, we may have to start banning submissions from Europe.
But that's been Reggie's Corner.
This has been Reggie's Corner. Goodbye to our friends on the other side. On the next Reggie's Corner, we'll talk about a bunch more pets who died.
Welcome to the big time, bitch! Woof woof!
Well, there it is. Reggie's Corner.
There you have it.